What's going on, guys? Back with a new video. Today we got Gilberto Roman and we got the legendary Nacho Bernstein behind him. He's fighting Juan Carrazzo. I've never seen Carrazzo fight before except in this fight, and he looked pretty strong. Gilberto Roman is the shorter fighter. Now, this is because I was studying Nacho's fighters, and Roman was one of the originals that he taught. Now, first thing I want to talk about is how Roman, he circles a lot in the beginning of the fight. And once this writing goes away, you could actually see a circle in the ring, which I think is a brilliant idea. I don't know if they did it for the boxing, I don't think they did it on purpose, but I think it's a great idea to have the circle in the ring because it makes it more enjoyable to watch the fight, especially if the fighters use their feet a lot. Now, the reason Roman, he's just moving around now is he tries to frustrate his opponent and making him find him. Making him find him meaning he's making his opponent look for Roman by constantly moving side to side. And after a couple rounds, this makes his opponent eager to get him. And then when Roman backs up straight, he slipped. When he starts backing straight back, his opponent is still trying to get him, and it makes it easier to counter his opponent. So for the untrained eye, or if you're watching this for the first time, you'll see Roman moving a lot. You'll think this is going to be the full fight, or he's going to do this for the whole fight, which is not correct. I've done a video on my Instagram where I speed up this first round where Roman is moving around, and you could really see how many times he circles the ring. Just trying to frustrate his opponent. Nice left hook, gets under, and then pivots the other way. If you've seen others, Manuel Marquez, my last fight study, if you've seen other fighters of Nacho Bernstein's, you know that they keep their hands up. That left hand is half extended most of the time, or a third extended. They keep popping that jab. They have more weight on the front leg. They don't really, they're not really dipped to the right. Like old school fighters are kind of more straight ahead, more straight up, and they slip more to their left, and they work the left uppercut more, the left hook, the jab. They have brilliant right hands. And as you can see, you got Carrazzo. He's just frustrated, or he's not frustrated yet, but he will be in a couple rounds. But you just see him trying to find Roman. Nice. This was a beautiful left hook, right hand. Nacho's fighters had great left hooks, right hands. This combination right here. Boom. And Manuel Marquez did the same thing in the last fight study, but not as with the left hand. Remember, if you saw my last fight study, how Manuel Marquez he would drop his left hand. He did that against what's his name, Mingo. So he would kind of get down, drop that left hand, and then come over the top with it for a left hook. And that's just to pretend that the left hand, that Roman is aiming that left hand with a jab to the body or a body shot, and you get the same reaction that Mingo gave Marquez, which was dropping that right hand, leaving himself open for that left, and they quickly follow through with the right hand. And this one staggers. Then you see him do it again with the left hook, right hand. Nice jab. Great jabs Nacho's fighters had. Always extended outside of the right hand, so the right hand kind of stayed back while the left hand stayed a little bit ahead. And I think that's the best position from this distance, to have your hands, because it lets you get off that jab nice and quick. Beautiful jab. Roman also had great defensive movements that when we see it, I'll talk about. But I see all his Nacho's fighters, they all had that lead hand. See how it kind of dances around? Halfway out or 1/3 out, like I said, and they just move it around. Makes the jab come out a lot easier and more fluid. Versus like an I-Corte jab where it comes straight out from the face. This jab is constantly moving in front of the opponent's face, and then when he pops it, it's less detectable. I think Nacho is one of the. I mean, he does get his credit from the boxers, and people know him. So I'm not gonna say he's underrated. He gets the credit he deserves, I think. But he's a great boxing coach and teacher. Perazo, I think, is Puerto Rican. I'll have to watch more of his fights because he did really look strong at some point. Like, he looked like he packed a punch. He drops Roman once or twice. So if you're watching Roman's feet for the first couple rounds, watch him. Usually he has the right foot down. Let me move this out the way. He has the right foot outside of this circle, and he has his left foot in, and which he can step in, land a punch, step out, and move around. But this circle is a great addition to a ring. It's a lot better than do I even need this part? Than having what's it called? Advertisements. If they do advertisements, they should put it in a circle. Like what they did here. I think it's a great addition. Nice jab. See how his jab is always active? Right hand is close to the face. He does drop his hand after he jabs. Not a big deal. Here his opponent tries to get him with the right hand as he jabs. Brings it down, wraps it around for a left hook. Steps off to the left. We see here the first time that his opponent shoots forward and Roman kind of engages, moving straight back. Puts that left hand to control his opponent. So I like doing this when I have an aggressive opponent. Oscar De La Hoya did this, I think, if I remember correctly. What you do is you put your left hand or your lead hand as the opponent slips. You put it over their neck, shoulder area, like over their traps, and you actually pull down your arm. So you pull down your lead arm as they move in, and it makes it harder for them to come up. And then you could move them to the left, push to the left with your arm, which would throw them off balance a little bit. Nice left hand. I don't think Roman was doing that here, but I like doing it too. When I got an aggressive guy moving in and they're shorter. Kind of control their neck trap area. Makes it harder for them to come up with a punch. Now here's why I said Carazo looked like he packed the punch. He had a nice left hook. Caught Roman there. See how he plays around with that left hand, Roman. Keeps it in his opponent's face. And you see, like I said before, his left foot is in this circle, his right foot is outside. If he steps in with this left foot, he can hit his opponent, and then if he steps back to the edge of the line or over the line, then he's too far for his opponent to land a punch. That's if his opponent is in the middle of the ring. Nice body shot. Now Roman is in the middle of the ring. And he moves out to his left. Constantly circling, not staying in front of his opponent. A guy like Carrazzo, he's really good at moving straight in. So when you got someone that's waiting to set up, to move straight in, what you got to do is you got to move to take a step to the side and make them re-aim their feet. And when they do that, they got to redo it, which wastes time. And then you just go the other way, or you just keep moving. So watch Carrazzo's feet, how he has to keep pointing them at Roman before he can move in like that. And then Roman catches him on the way in. And even though Roman is 2 inches shorter, they said in the pre-fight pictures, he's the one that's boxing like the taller guy. See that? Let's rewind before that. Watch Carrazzo's feet. See, first they're aimed at us. If we're watching this fight, they're aimed here. So they're aimed here. Watch, he has to take a step. He has to re-aim. And then he tries to move in. He has to re-aim again. Now they're aimed here, so he kind of went from this angle. Now he's aimed over there. Now he tries to move in. He thinks he's good, so Roman kind of stopped for a second. And now he thinks he can move in, but as he moves in, Roman steps to the left again. I think he was off balance on that one, Roman. Every time he wants to attack, Carrazzo, Roman just moves to the left. See how he's constantly churning him? Now there's a misconception, I think, or something that's lost in translation between coach and fighter. When a coach tells you to turn your opponent, you're thinking, okay, I gotta put my hand on him and then pivot around him and stuff like that. If the fighter is aggressive and wants to cut the distance, just by you stepping around them makes them turn. So you don't actually have to be touching them to turn them. Right? So there's 2 ways to turn an opponent. If they're aggressive, you could literally just step to the side and they gotta turn with you. Or you can put your left hand on their elbow or shoulder and then pivot around them. That's a little bit different. But just turning your opponent means stepping to the side. You see how many times Carrazzo has to turn before he could actually throw a punch. And then he goes right, Roman. Well, I guess he did get caught with a jab, but he was kind of off balance a little bit. We're into round 3. And still Roman is circling around, stepping out, circle around again. I always equate someone that comes forward and is aggressive with their punches like a tank. So if you think of a tank, it's very powerful, it could blow you up, but a tank needs a little bit time to aim at its target before it can shoot. And if the target is constantly moving around that tank, then the tank has to constantly readjust its aim before it can shoot. And that's exactly like a power puncher or an aggressive fighter. They need that second to set up their feet so they can commit to moving forward. But if you're constantly moving around them, they have a little bit trouble setting their feet before they can get off. And that's how usually the other fighter doesn't allow them to get off, by constantly moving around. And you see that just walking out to the right. Now this is another thing is when you're walking, so there's moving. So let's go back. So this is called lateral movement, where what Roman is doing right now, where you're square and you're moving your feet side by side. Now you can go from moving to walking. So he's about to start walking here. But as you walk, it's good to dip down the way he did, because a straight punch might come at you and you want to be able to get away from it just like that. See how he's just walking? So he switches from moving side to side to walking, and he just walks out of that, pivots around. So when you are walking, you got to be careful. And same thing when you're moving backwards, you want to dip down your head as you walk backwards. But Roman doesn't do that there, and then he gets caught with the right hand. Was that a left shot by Carrazzo? Or a left hook uppercut type punch? But you see, Roman constantly moving to the side, constantly moving to the left, sometimes moving right, but there you go, change direction, and that's it again. He's walking, so you can see the change from his feet. He's lateral movement right there, puts his left foot forward, and then he's walking. He's literally walking forward, just like a regular someone walking down the street. Then he pivots. Nice combination. So you have pivots and punches at the same time. Nice left hook. This is my favorite part of the whole fight. Okay, I won't talk, I'll let you guys just watch this part. Or I guess the part I was talking about was shorter than I thought. Yeah, no, this is still part of it. Okay, the part I was talking about was over. I guess I thought it lasted longer than it actually did from the last time I watched this fight. But you see how many times he's changing direction, Roman? He's not sitting still yet. I'm not going to say he never sits still. I'm saying he's never sitting still yet. He's not staying still yet. Spins him. I like watching, like I always say, or I said before, smaller fighters because they have the most technique, I believe. The most boxing skills is in their weight classes because they don't have that one punch knockout, and they're a lot smaller, so they have the energy to move a lot. Different than heavyweights. There are a lot of skilled heavyweights, but there also are a lot of hard-hitting, less skilled heavyweights. It's a lot easier to be less skilled in the heavyweight division if you pack a big punch. But with a smaller guy, if you don't have that one, usually they don't have that one punch, so it's harder not to be skillful. That was a nice left hook by Carrazzo. Goes under, no, yeah. And see how he's just trying to find him? Let's see in round 4 what Roman does. Let's see here. Is he still going to be moving, or is he going to stay in front of Carrazzo a little bit longer? Nice left hook. That's why I said I want to watch more of Carrazzo, because he does pack a punch with that left hand. He looks like a mini Mike Tyson. He has wide shoulders, wide back. You can see his biceps. Remember, these guys are 5'5" and 5'3". And that's why I love boxing, because no matter how big you are, how much you weigh, how tall you are, there's always someone for you to fight. So here, he gets caught with a jab, Roman pops that jab back, gets under the left hook, and turns around. Very slick defensive moves, but he doesn't overdo his defense. He only uses it when he needs to. Roman. This is my third or fourth time watching this fight. And every time I watch it, I pick up something new. Goes under, steps back. Okay, this is something I want to talk about. I've done this video on Instagram also. If you watched my, what's his name, Alexis Arguello, if you watched my breakdowns of his fights against Ray Mancini and Jim Watt, he throws this left uppercut to make the other guy kind of lean back, and then he shoots a right hand. Very similar setup here. I don't know if Gilberto was meaning to do this, but he throws like a left hook uppercut type punch, like on a 45. See how his opponent Carrazzo sits up, he stands up, and then he sends that right hand directly at him, and then he catches him with the left hook on the way down. So if you haven't watched my fight breakdowns of Arguello, I highly suggest you watch those. So many things. I could break down Arguello's technique for hours. Okay, this is something else, very minor but important. I'm working on pronouncing my words right, especially the ending of them. So if you miss a punch like here, Roman misses the right hand, you gotta fix your mistake. And how would you do that? Well, the easiest way to fix a mistake in a missing situation is just to pop out that jab. Pop, pop. You're back on balance and you don't look as bad. The worst thing you can do after throwing a big right, missing it, is coming back with a big left hook. It just makes you look worse. You miss, acknowledge it, pop, pop. Now you're in front of the guy and you're ready to punch again. So fix your mistakes in the ring. Don't make more mistakes after you make one mistake. That goes for life too, but it's easier said than done. Now we see Carrazzo fighting like Roman. Roman is a little bit more on the offensive this round. Now Carrazzo's the one doing a little bit of the fancy work. Okay, here is where Carrazzo catches Roman. I'll let the video play. Looks over to his coach. Tells him it's gonna be all right. Gives him a little head nod. Okay, let me replay this real quick. Great timing by Carrazzo. You can see how it really sat down in there. Okay, so Roman, I guess this is when he found out that Carrazzo wasn't just an easy fight. Touches him with that left hand. Now, I can't see what Carrazzo does, but you can guess what he's doing. He caught that left hand on his elbow, and then he comes back with the right uppercut. You could see Roman's head pop up, and then catches Roman with the left hook as Roman was throwing his own left hook. So now we know who has the stronger punch. Great timing, catch on the uppercut and shoot with the catch on the elbow, shoot with the same hand and uppercut, come back with the left hook. Now I guess Roman learned his lesson here that he can't just bully or stand in front and trade with Carrazzo, at least not at this point of the fight, maybe later on. That's what respecting an opponent looks like or means, is when you respect someone, you're not scared of them, but you respect their strengths, and you know you could measure your strengths against theirs and know what you should and shouldn't do. So for Roman, it'd be very stupid for him to stay in front of Carrazzo and let Carrazzo time him or land the bigger punch on Roman, since Carrazzo has the bigger punch. Much more better off moving and making Carrazzo frustrated and then countering him like he has been doing for the majority of the fight. Now the reason I stopped this was as Roman was stepping to the left, Carrazzo lands a nice right hand, cutting him off. Very nice. So Roman was a little bit more aggressive in this round, knocked down his opponent and also was knocked down. I always like to find that round when a boxer starts to actually press the gas or change up. Some fighters, it's 4 rounds. In the 4th round, they start putting heat on. Sometimes the 5th round, if it's a 15-round fight, sometimes it doesn't happen till the 6th or 7th round. So I like always knowing fighters, when do they step up their game, which round. I was studying Brian Mitchell yesterday on my Instagram, showing people what I was studying. And then Brian Mitchell, from the fights I've watched of him, he's a South African champion. He started picking up, changing gears around 6 or 7. But he's a fighter that liked the 15-round fights. Alexis Arguello was like that. He would do just enough to win until the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, and then he would actually close the show from there on. So it's nice to study fighters. When do they go from studying their opponent, jabbing, moving, to becoming aggressive? That's something you can learn from them and ask yourself, why did they do that? What did they see in their opponent that made them, okay, now I'm gonna move in, if you know what I mean. Some fighters go in from the 1st round on, but boxers, great thinkers, they take some time to learn their opponent. They jab some, they win the round, but they don't go all out from the 1st round. Roman has a big blob of Vaseline on his face, on his forehead, eyebrow. I'm not sure how the ref let him fight like that. I think that's Vaseline. Or maybe it was just the lighting. I think it was just the lighting, maybe. See Roman constantly stepping to the left, because his opponent has a left hook. So if someone has a left hook, you want to move to your left to make them reach when they throw that left hook. Make them turn. Nice double jab. So Carrazzo does have some defense slipping also. Oh, that was beautiful. This was brutal though. He caught Roman. As Roman was going down, he caught him with that left uppercut. Now this was ruled not a knockdown, but let's see what happens. That left hook looks like it might have connected, might have missed. right hand. That should have been ruled a knockdown because he went down after the right hand landed, slip or not. I think that should have been ruled a left knockdown, not a slip. No, he should have been warned for that, for grabbing behind the head. And he did warn, the ref did warn Gilberto Roman. He's moving less fluently to the left. He's kind of stopping more. He's kind of taking his time a little bit more, moving. That was a nice timed right hand. Nice step to the side, back, throw a nice right hand. See, he's kind of pot shotting a little bit more. Roman, he kind of stops for a sec, throws a punch, moves. A little bit less movement, a little tiny bit less movement than the first 4 rounds or 3 rounds. Nice body shot by Roman, nice jab. What's going on here? Not sure what that was about. Yeah, I don't know, could have been a knockdown. If you are slipping or off balance and someone hits you, they still, that should still count as a knockdown, because they hit you as you went down, so you can't really for sure say the guy was already falling or the punch made him fall. So I think that should have been ruled a knockdown. Nice left hook. Let's see if Roman stays in the middle or in front of Carrazzo for the 6th round. So what do you know? Roman has moved a lot less in the 6th round. The 5th round, he moved a little bit less than before, but now he's moving a lot less than before. 4th round, he kind of got a little bit aggressive, or was it the 5th? So he moved for a good 3 to 4 rounds, Roman, before he started doing this, which is standing in front of his opponent, moving a lot less than before. Now this is what I was talking about before, is how Roman spent the first 3 to 4 rounds moving, side to side, circling. Now he's kind of walking back in a straight line. Now this is something that Daniel Zaragoza did a lot. That's what I noticed about him and Roman, is they move a lot in the beginning, side to side, circling. And then they start moving in a straight line back. And that's to get their aggressive opponent, to move in to a punch. Doesn't work here, but we'll see if Roman does that a little bit more. But you see how he's moving straight back and he's staying in front of his opponent a lot more than in the previous rounds. And this is what I was talking about. Here, before in the first 3 rounds, he would step out and move to the side, takes 1 step out, bang, catches his opponent. Because his opponent's frustrated, he's been trying to find him for the past, I don't know, 5 rounds or 4 rounds, and then he finally gets a chance to move in straight, and he gets caught. But you see how much less he circled around Roman? A lot more going straight back. Now, if he had done this in the previous rounds, earlier rounds, it would have been a lot more dangerous because his opponent would have been fresh and able to come in with speed and power. But now he's a little bit more worn out, a little bit more frustrated, and he could, Roman could move back straight with a little bit more safety than if he did in the beginning rounds. Okay guys, I'll stop it right here. Next part will be round 7 and on. So I just want to make this fight study to talk about how Roman kind of circles his opponent, frustrates him for the first 3 to 4 rounds, and then once he gets his opponent going, he starts moving back in a straight line and catching his opponent coming in. What else? Yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about, which was fighting an aggressive fighter or someone that likes to come forward. Don't just move back right away. They build up momentum on that. You want to keep turning them, forcing them to readjust. Once they're kind of exhausted mentally of trying to catch you, then you start moving back straight. They move in with less intensity, I should say, or less care because they're frustrated, and that's when they are more open to receive counter punches or get caught on the way in. Thank you for watching. Also, after I'm done this fight, I might either do Zaragoza or I might do Chris Bird, heavyweight boxer, versus Vitaly Klitschko and Vladimir Klitschko. So those might be my next fights after this one. Appreciate you. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.